In a year when toilet paper was hoarded like gold and pasta became more valuable than Bitcoin, the UK faced a different sort of crisis, one that struck at the very heart of British identity: Marmite. To outsiders, it might sound trivial. A national emergency over a breakfast spread? Absurd! But to Britons, Marmite isn't just a condiment. It's a cultural cornerstone, a salty, sticky symbol of home, childhood, war rations, and Sunday toast. This is the story of how a virus didn't just take lives, livelihoods, and certainty, but nearly took Marmite too. This is the Great Marmite Crisis of 2020. For the uninitiated, Marmite is a yeast-based spread with a taste as polarizing as Brexit. You either love it or you're wrong. It's not just food, it's philosophy. It's the kind of flavor that divides families at breakfast tables. The kind that sparks fierce debates at pub gardens and on playgrounds. Marmite is Britain's edible line in the sand. It's made from yeast extract, a byproduct of beer brewing. And like so many eccentric British things, teabags, cricket, black pudding, it defies explanation to the outside world. You simply have to taste it to understand. And once you do, there's no going back. Marmite's story begins not in a kitchen, but in a brewery. In the early 1900s, a German scientist discovered that yeast extract previously thrown away after beer production could be concentrated and preserved. It was rich in B vitamins, and Britain, ever the practical island, took notice. By 1902, Marmite Food Extract Company Limited had set up shop in Burton upon Trent, a town famous for beer. What better place to birth a spread made from beer's leftovers? The product quickly found favor, not just with families, but with the military. Marmite was packed into rations during both World Wars. It was a taste of home on the front lines, a small comfort in muddy trenches. Soldiers would later say the little brown jars reminded them of their mum's sand of peace. Over time, Marmite cemented itself into British consciousness. It was fed to children as a vitamin supplement, used to bake, to flavor stews, even to cure hangovers. It became, quite literally, the taste of Britain. Then came 2020. COVID-19 swept across the world with a force unseen in generations. Airports emptied, offices shut, streets fell silent, and grocery stores were pillaged. The first wave of panic saw essentials vanish: flour, eggs, cleaning wipes, canned beans. Then the second wave hit, the comfort foods, the things that made isolation bearable: biscuits, chocolate, crisp sand for millions of Britons, Marmite. No one saw it coming. One week it was there, the next, gone. A hole on the shelf where British resolve once sat in brown glass. A void in the toast routine of millions. The absence was almost spiritual. So what happened? Why did Marmite, of all things, vanish? The answer lies in its origin. Marmite is made from spent brewer's yeast, what's left behind after beer is made. But in 2020, pubs closed. Beer demand collapsed. Breweries scaled down or shut altogether. No beer meant no yeast. And no yeast meant no Marmite. Unilever, Marmite's parent company, was caught in the crossfire. They simply couldn't get the raw materials. Like many industries, they were at the mercy of a world on pause. At first, the warning signs were subtle. A few empty shelves, a missing row at Tesco. Then came the official statement. Marmite production would be scaled back only. The small jars would continue. The big ones? Suspended indefinitely. The response was immediate and very British. There was outrage, yes, but also wit, sarcasm, and memes. Videos surfaced of people auctioning their last jars. One man claimed his Marmite was now worth more than his car. Comedians spoofed breaking news reports. A particularly viral TikTok featured a woman cradling a near-empty jar to the sound of Adele's "Someone Like You." Even politicians got involved, using the shortage to distract from grim daily briefings. Marmite had become national comic relief, a sticky symbol of our shared absurdity. And then came the cruelest twist of all. While small jars remained, the 400 big boys, the prized jars, were gone. Vanished. It was rationing, 21st century style. A teaspoon here, a scrape there. Families adapted, switching to Marmite light routines. One Reddit user claimed to have decanted half a teaspoon into a bottle of water to make it last longer. Another reportedly used an eyedropper. Supermarkets began posting signs. One small jar per customer. It was black gold, now sold in thimble-sized portions. Britain was surviving, but only just. As always, where there is scarcity, there is opportunity. A black market was born. Opportunists hoarded jars and flipped them online. Prices soared. A jar that once cost $2.5 now fetched £50. A parody ad aired online. Forget crypto, invest in Marmite. It was only half a joke. People began mailing jars to relatives. One woman said she smuggled hers across the Welsh border during lockdown. We had entered uncharted territory. The brown spread had become brown gold. But underneath the jokes was something deeper. Psychologists noted the loss triggered genuine grief. Not just for Marmite, but for normalcy. In uncertain times, routines ground us. The morning toast, the lunchtime sandwich rituals we cling to. When those rituals break, so do we. Cultural historians compared it to the wartime rationing of tea. It wasn't just about taste. It was about comfort, identity, and continuity. One retiree said, "I've had Marmite every day for 60 years. Then it was gone. It felt like losing a friend." Eventually, good news arrived. Breweries slowly restarted. Yeast supplies resumed. And Unilever at last restarted production of the beloved big jars. In a statement they said, "We understand how important Marmite is to our customers. We're working hard to bring it back to full supply." Britain exhaled collectively. The shelves didn't refill overnight, but the tide had turned. By the end of 2021, the crisis had passed. Marmite was back. Toasts once again carried their familiar tang. The British spirit resilient, sarcastic, and salt-tolerant had prevailed. But something had changed. A new appreciation for the simple things. The jar in the cupboard, the spread on the bread. The idea that even in chaos, a little brown spoonful could make it all feel okay. The Great Marmite Crisis reminded us that even the smallest comforts bitter, salty, polarizing can bind us together. And when they're gone, we feel their absence far more than we expect. Chuckling softly. So next time your toast feels a little bland, remember, you live in a time of plenty. And if you've got Marmite, well, you're one of the lucky ones. Love it, hate it, either way, spread the word. Like this video, subscribe, ring that bell, and tell us in the comments, what bizarre food did you miss most in 2020? Unless it's Vegemite. We don't talk about Vegemite.